Welcome to Beyond the Trailers coverage of the 2013 Academy Awards, giving you an in-depth look at the top categories. And be sure to cast your own vote for who you think should win in our poll at tinyurl.com/BTT Oscar Vote 2013. There's even a write-in section. Now let's take a look at the nominees for Best Director.
Michael Haneke, Amour.
Haneke made a charming stateside debut at the Golden Globes when, upon receiving his award for Best Foreign Language Film from Arnold Schwarzenegger, quipped he didn't expect to be accepting his first Hollywood award from a fellow Austrian. And Haneke is sure to make a further splash at the Oscars, where Amour is not only also poised to win for Best Foreign Language Film, but where Haneke is personally nominated for Best Original Screenplay and Best Director. But while Haneke's nomination in this category increases the odds that Amour will win Best Picture as well as Best Foreign Language Film, it's unlikely that Haneke himself will take home any awards. But that's okay, as all this attention for Amour is certainly raising his profile stateside. However, I bet you're already familiar with Haneke's work and don't even know it. Not only did he direct the hot 2009 foreign language contender The White Ribbon, but he also directed the original Funny Games and US remake, which starred Naomi Watts and a pre-Boardwalk Empire Michael Pitt. Kinda hard to believe the same guy who made Funny Games made Amour.
Ang Lee, Life of Pi.
This year, the directing category is divided into surprise newcomers and master directors. Lee is obviously in the latter group, this being his third directing nomination with a win under his belt for Brokeback Mountain. And to Lee's credit, every time he's been nominated, it's because he's pushed himself. For Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, it was his first action film. For Brokeback Mountain, it was the first mainstream gay romance. And his win for that film pushed boundaries itself, as he was not only the first Asian director to win the Best Director Oscar, but also the first non-Caucasian. No one else has followed in his footsteps since then, although another record was broken when the first woman won in 2009. And now, with Life of Pi, it's Lee's first time working in 3D, a medium new to dramatic directors, which Martin Scorsese took a shot at with Hugo last year. Life of Pi has also been a true labor of love for Lee, who had to personally convince 20th Century Fox to foot the $100 million plus budget, as well as agree to have the film shot in the Far East, mostly Lee's native Taiwan. Not to mention, Lee insisted on casting an unknown Indian actor in the lead role. Happily, Lee's gamble paid off at the box office, but we'll have to wait and see if it pays off at the Oscars as well.
David O. Russell, Silver Linings Playbook.
After his infamous fight with Lily Tomlin on the set of I Heart Huckabees, a fight which leaked onto the internet in all its horrific glory, it seemed that Russell would never work again. But then, after 6 years in exile, Tomlin's Huckabee co-star Mark Wahlberg brought Russell on to direct The Fighter, and suddenly it was like Russell had never stopped making movies. The Fighter was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Russell's first directing nomination, winning both Best Supporting Actor and Actress. And now, his Silver Linings Playbook film, supercharged by Harvey Weinstein, is up for 8 Academy Awards, again including 1 for Russell. But while Silver Linings Playbook might not be as grand a film as those made by his competitors in this category, Russell has an edge here because of his own personal story. See, Russell's own son suffers from mental illness, which is not only why he wanted to make the film, but has also allowed him to portray how a family deals with mental illness both lovingly and realistically. It's truly a wonderful thing when someone takes what could be a burden and transforms it into something beautiful that can reach others and hopefully lessen their burdens. And such a thing could win Russell the Best Director Oscar, just as is likely to win the Best Original Screenplay Oscar for Flight's John Gatton's, a recovered alcoholic.
Steven Spielberg, Lincoln.
If you didn't know that Spielberg directed Lincoln, would you be able to tell that he did? The answer is most likely no, and as I mentioned in my coverage of the Best Picture category, what makes Spielberg's work on Lincoln so extraordinary is his show of restraint. In fact, Spielberg's involvement is something that initially worked against the picture, at least in the court of public opinion, as everyone was sure he'd produce an overly sentimental portrait of our 16th president, the Disney version, if you will. But while he did indeed make Lincoln for Disney, it has ended up being one of the most realistic historical films ever made, a welcome change for audiences who in this technological age are no longer satisfied to keep legends at arm's distance. But while Spielberg has done an overwhelmingly good job, is he really the most valuable member of his dream team? While I'd say Daniel Day-Lewis and screenwriter Tony Kushner are almost guaranteed wins, I don't know if the same can be said for Spielberg. Plus, this is his 7th nomination for Best Director, 1 for Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he's already won twice. He'll most likely take home an Oscar for producing Lincoln when it wins for Best Picture, which seems very fair.
Ben Zeitlin, Beasts of the Southern Wild.
This is the wrong Ben! Everyone had expected to see Ben Affleck in this category, and he even won this year's Golden Globe for Best Director, which he totally deserved, but I wouldn't put it past the HFPA to have given it to him just for the awesome headlines. However, the Academy has generated its own headlines by nominating Zeitlin, a 30-year-old filmmaker, for his debut feature film. And if he wins, he'll be the youngest director ever to do so. So who is Benh Zeitlin? Interestingly, both of his parents are folklorists, which explains a lot if you've seen Beasts of the Southern Wild. And he's also done the kind of really cool stuff that Academy voters just eat up, like form a filmmaking community called Court 13 and move to Katrina-devastated New Orleans. He's also a product of Sundance, so his nomination here has the added benefit of proving Robert Redford's organization is still relevant. And lo and behold, he could be a budding Christopher Nolan, as the first film he ever made at the age of 6 was a Batman movie. Warner Brothers is looking for a new director. And those are the 2013 Best Director nominees. Who do you think deserves the Oscar? Leave your comments down below, and don't forget to vote in the Beyond the Trailer Oscar poll. It closes on February 12th. I'm Grace Randolph, and I hope you'll check out the rest of BTT's Oscar coverage.